Chapter 1. The first time they drove by the house, Eddie was so scared, he ducked his head down. Skip laughed at him. Above the rattling of the motor, Skip cheered, "What's the matter with you? Afraid the old woman's got X-ray eyes or something? She's a mind reader, maybe? She's looking out now and spotting us? You nuts?" What he really meant, as Eddie knew, was that Eddie was chicken. Now that they were past the house, headed downhill past empty lots, Eddie cast a glance back. Hell, it's such a doggone big place, that's all. Important looking. And in this hour of near twilight, in his opinion, kind of spooky and ominous. The bigger they come, the harder they fall, Skip pronounced. He was peering ahead to the corner where the side street entered the main boulevard from Pasadena. Suddenly, he chucked Eddie in the ribs. "Hey, there's the chick now." His tone had taken on a certain confidential excitement. A girl of around 17 sat on the bench at the bus stop. She had a couple of books in her lap, one open between her hands, and her head was bent over it, the book slanted so that its pages caught the last thin light from the sky. Her hair was short and curly, a soft, lustrous brown. "Look at that. A dish," Skip was saying. As they went by, Eddie gave her a single nervous glance, and Skip an all-out stare. But she didn't look up. She wore a plain blue coat that looked old for her, white sandals, and a small white handbag hung from her wrist. Her lashes and little wing-like brows were dark against the creamy color of her skin. "She's on her way to night school now," Skip explained, "taking a secretarial course. The old lady tried to goose her into nursing school, but she wouldn't bite. You want to meet her tonight? I could introduce you when typing class is out. Be in the hall." "Maybe one of us ought to kind of lay low," Eddie said. He paused to watch what Skip was doing with the car. Skip had waited for a lull in the traffic on the boulevard, then cut sharply into a U-turn. "Hey, for the love of Pete! Just going back for another look? We've got to have that layout down pat." "Oh, Lord." Eddie hunkered down into the seat, trying to squirm out of sight of the bench. "You want her to know we've been out here?" "Why not? It's a free country." Skip often pretended to be dense like this. "Look, afterwards, when the thing happens, won't they begin to ask about strangers hanging around? Other people in the neighborhood? Relax, for Christ's sakes." Skip swung the car jauntily close to the bench on which the girl sat, then whistled his wolf call. She lifted her face at that, staring at the car. But Eddie sensed that she hadn't recognized Skip. She wore a confused, foggy expression, as if her mind were on the book, or as if her eyes, tired from reading, had trouble adjusting to the distance. The old car puffed and rumbled as it started back up the grade. Skip nursed it with gas from the choke. Eddie said, "She didn't seem to know you." "Getting dark," Skip said. "Anyhow, we'll meet her tonight at school." He had already dismissed Karen Miller from his mind, Eddie saw, and was again fascinated by the house. The roof made a tall, turreted line against the darkening sky. It was an aloof and aristocratic old house, settled in amid dusty cedars and deodars, surrounded by almost a square block of lawns and shrubs. A mansion, Eddie thought, and the idea of fooling around it and the old woman who owned it made prickles of icy bumps crawl on his arms.